Good afternoon. When Sarah called me from TEDx, she asked me to talk about innovative solutions for sustainable development. I was wondering what wonderful idea I would pick up among all the brilliant ideas, researches, or discoveries that are done today. They are so numerous. But in the end, I chose one that is quite unexpected. You will see. But first of all, I couldn't begin without telling you why I am here. If you make a speech, it means that you have a message to deliver. And I have a message of hope. And if I dared, a duty of hope. When an article in Le Monde from September 14 says that 3 out of 4 young people around the globe think that their future is frightening, I take my part and wonder what I can do. First, tell you that we, old adults, compared to you, young adults, are looking for solutions to reduce this anxiety. Only 30% are optimistic among this study, and I hope to increase that percentage by the end of this TEDx. We are responsible for what we do now, but not for what we didn't know before and what cannot be changed anymore. You could hear that one single person cannot change anything, that we cannot do anything anymore, that it is too late. And we will have to build together. That's true. We will have to reinvent ourselves. That's true. But we have there a wonderful opportunity to reinvent our world. So isn't it wonderful? Humanity has had to rebuild everything several times in history. And they have had the courage to do it all over again. So why shouldn't we? I have a message for you who are young, smart, and proactive. Don't listen to people who tell you it is not possible, who tell you no before they even try. The ones who I call the against everything and for nothing. Because we can do something. We can find ideas. We can reinvent the world. We have seen that it is possible lately. If we all join our forces and in intelligence, we can do miracles. If we want to innovate, we will do mistakes, but we mustn't be afraid of making mistakes, because only people who try will eventually succeed. Remember that failure is a degree, as Steve Jobs said. We will adapt and we will find solutions to every situation if we have a positive attitude and if, instead of criticizing, we join our forces to create and improve. Of course, we will need help. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be ashamed. Remember that winners never quit and quitters never win. That is what some researchers have done, and it is the example of innovation that I chose to talk about this afternoon. I chose this one because it is a good example of a link between rurality and urbanity. It is a good example of how young people never gave up on the idea to take part on the changes we will have to make. It is a good example of how young people can work together with their local communities. It is a good example of collective intelligence, and so many others that you will have to figure out by yourself, depending on your opinion. As I told you earlier, this idea is quite unexpected. Once upon a time, 2 entrepreneur friends were discussing their company problems. One wanted to set up a fertilizing company based on plants for agriculture. The other was running a dry toilets company and had problems collecting and sanitizing human urine, whereas it has been known for centuries as an excellent fertilizer. Therefore, they had the idea to collect human urine from schools, universities, and other public places, transform it into a fertilizer, and then use it in our fields to feed us. The process had not been found, but the idea was there. This project, then, creates a fertilizer instead of a waste, creates short circuits, and saves water. Urine is put in our toilets and has to be treated as a waste. How to make a fertilizer with urine? Because if collecting human urine is not a recent idea, it was done in Paris in the last centuries before collective sanitation, but it was then spread as crude urine. And crude urine is not concentrated enough. For example, 30,000 liters of crude urine would be necessary to fertilize 1 hectare versus 600 pounds chemical nitrogen fertilizer. So it would take too much time to the farmer and the product wouldn't be sold. So this startup company had the idea to use urine culturing the bacteria and not directly as a fertilizer. Bacteria would be a biostimulant for the plant, and the human urine can be an alternative to microorganisms used in agriculture that are quite expensive. But urine is free and almost inexhaustible. And for the record, this visionary entrepreneur had also a very particular way of being a scientist. Do you know how he got this process? Peeing in the bottle. He then, of course, added substances to make it more productive and finally found an effective process. How does it work? How does the system work? Urines are deposited in some private or public diversion toilets. Then they are collected by the company, then transported and stocked in the local industry, then sanitized and improved with a low-energy treatment, and sold to the farmers who will spread it in his fields. The consumer will eat the product of the farmer and deposit his urine again. This process now allows to make 1 liter of biostimulant based on 1 liter of human urine. And in the end, with 1,000 liters of their final product, they can fertilize 1 hectare. And do you know the price? When a standard chemical fertilizer is around 40 euros per hectare, this one costs about 2, meaning at least, depending on the initial price, 20 times less. They know how to find the communities, cities, and private companies that will want to work with them as savers of our planet. This startup began in Gironde, close to Bordeaux. There were 25 employees now, and even China is interested in their process. This project favorizes short circuits and avoids GHG emissions. Around 50% of our mineral fertilizers are imported in the EU, and we need around 80 million of nutrients, and 8 are imported. So these projects also avoid greenhouse gas emissions by creating regional value chains. This project saves water. On the one hand, human urine is now considered a waste, representing 50% of treatment of used water costs. On the other hand, do you know where about 30% of drinking water goes? In our toilets. In other words, we pee in clean water every day. Let's say that we go to the toilets 3 to 4 times a day. Every time we use 3 to 6 liters, which represents around 20 to 30% of our clean water consumption. One can think it's not a lot. But altogether, in Europe, 6,000 million liters of clean water are used to clean and evacuate 200 million of urine per year. And in the meantime, we could choose to participate, and every one of us can become a fertilizer producer. You can become a fertilizer producer. For example, if you make a calculation with Sciences Po Reims, you are 1,200 students, and with such diversion toilets, you would save 360 cubic meters of clean water per year. That would be a financial economy of 700 euros. You would collect 45 cubic meters of human urine and make 43 cubic meters of this product. That would avoid 455 tons of CO2 emissions, which is around 47 travels around the Earth with a car, or 170 returns to New York by plane. So this solution would save clean water, avoid air pollution, avoid soil pollution, and it is also a wonderful example of how you can find an idea listening and talking with people. Compare your needs. See how one can serve or fulfill the other. As makers of today and deciders of tomorrow, please keep in mind that it can all begin by you. To have ideas, to build your present and your future. To get ideas, you can rely on the 17 goals for sustainable development of the UN. For example, no poverty, zero hunger, gender equality, peace, partnership for the goals. For every project that you will have, please keep those keywords in mind. It will help you as a decision-making tool. So if you want to be innovative, ask for help. Don't stop to the first no. Einstein said, "I am thankful for all those who said no to me. It is because of them I am doing it myself." Please don't ever consider you are too young to innovate. Trust in yourselves. Have the audacity to go and meet your local politicians. Tell them your ambitions. It will serve your territory, our territories. If you have good ideas, please don't let us down. I'll end up telling you a story of where I come from. I live in a teeny tiny village very close to Reims. One could even say it's quite in the middle of nowhere. But 40 years ago, some young visionaries decided to set up a biorefinery. It is now known worldwide as a major place for bioeconomy. And researchers from all over the world come and work at Bazancourt-Pomacle. They had a very audacious idea, had the courage and tenacity to follow it, and are a rare example of scientific and economic success. So please, go deeper, go further, serve more people. It will make you happy and proud of yourself, because you will realize how glad you are when you can help your world and be part of the team. Thank you.